Welcome to Enlightening the Mind, a weekly talk show that reaches out to the independent, free-minded thinker who doesn't just go for what they've been told or led to believe. Rather, they choose to use their own minds and concepts to help them solve issues that affect and shape how we live our lives today. And now, without further ado, please welcome in the host of Enlightening the Mind, Mr. Stacey Harris.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Enlightening the Mind. This is a show that reaches out to the independent, free-minded thinker who doesn't just go for what they've been told or led to believe. Rather, they choose to use their own minds and concepts to help them solve issues that affect and shape how we live our lives today. I'm your host, Stacey Harris, and I'm coming to you all to talk to you all about a very serious issue that has just affected the United States. And this is an issue that I would like to bring in my panel. My panel will be led by Mr. Christopher Johnson, Jr. We also have some special guests. I'm going to introduce Chris first. Chris, how you been doing, man? It's been a long time since we've been on, and we're finally back to doing what we do best. How you been doing, Chris?
Man, I am doing great. It's great to be back, Stacey. I'm glad to hear your voice again on air, man. Welcome back to Enlightening the Mind.
Yeah, it's good to be back, as you said, and I want to, Chris, excuse me, I want to talk about, like I said earlier, man, there's some serious things that have been happening in this country, something that is so devastating that I think that everyone should be made aware of. And now I know you've heard a lot about, the conspiracy theories, aliens coming, boo-hoo, people talking about religion, the end of times, 2012. But, Chris, that was a serious event that happened this past weekend, starting Thursday, that is definitely going to shake everyone's foundation and give them, I guess this is going to be a wake-up call. Before we get into that, I'd like to introduce our panel. We have, returning back with us, we have the minister, Mr. Joseph Johnson. How you been doing, Mr. Johnson?
I've been doing pretty good. I can't complain. I won't complain. Things getting better and better for me. Everything's looking up. So glad to hear your voice back on the air once again. Thank you for honoring me and having me as a guest panel. Thank you. And,
no problem. No problem.
We get this thing started.
Right. We're definitely looking forward to it, and I do want to let everyone know this is our first show back, man. It does actually feel good to be back. We also have one of our enlightened members, man, Mr. Dorsey. How you been doing, sir? How's everything going on with you?
Yes, sir. We are back, and I am so excited. Everything's great. I want to say yes, sir, again. We are back, and I am very excited. I want to get back all those viewers we had, so we're going to try to pull you guys back. We appreciate y'all's support, and we look forward to y'all returning support again. This second go around for us. So, yes, sir, I'm happy.
Exactly. It's good to have you.
Glad to be on board, Stacey. Glad to hear your voice again. Glad to hear Chris, the minister, everybody. So we're excited.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We're going to crank this thing up. We're definitely going to crank this thing up. I want to say that this is going to be, this is our second go-around on Blogtalk. As you all know, we definitely left. We went to the national radio circuit, but by popular demand, we are back. And, again, we're going to definitely get into it. There is one more person that I would like to introduce, and this person here, man, I have a lot of love and respect for this person, and this person may not know that because I haven't, I guess, had the chance to talk to this person for a while. I've actually done some radio with this person before, and it is awesome to actually be back on the air. Hold on. Okay, thank you, guys. It's good to be back again. As I was saying, it's good to be back with this person again. Haven't had a chance to talk to them for a while. Ecstatic to have them, man. And I'm so happy to be with them, so I'm going to introduce that person. That person will be myself. I am so happy to be with myself, talking to myself again. So I just want to get that out. No, all serious, Mr. Brother Ital. He's joining us, man, a special guest, and we're definitely going to look for his enlightenment. Mr. Ital, how have you been doing, sir? Long time that I spoke with you. I'm glad to be back with you on Enlightening the Mind. How have you been doing?
Well, and I am so happy to hear your voice. I've been thinking about you for a while, and thanks to Brother Chris that we're back in contact again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's going to be good. We're looking forward to your insight. And now on to the very important business. Have you all know, I want to talk to you guys first about what has actually happened this past weekend. Starting Thursday, the Earth, our planet, yes, was in a very serious threat to be annihilated. And I'm going to use those terms deeply because this is the truth. I have scientific facts to prove it. This is not none of the conspiracy theories. We were in serious trouble of a devastating annihilation. It comes from the satellite, and I think if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, Elenin, E-L-E-N-I-N. Am I correct on that, Chris?
Well, it can be pronounced either way. It's Elenin or Elenin.
Right.
So you're on track there. I mean, we definitely get the what you're trying to say. We get the point.
Right. Now, here's the thing. Let's set this up, guys. Now, the planet Elenin, as I like to call it, or Elenin, or whatever, Chris, it was set to hit our Earth. It was supposed to come into a line with our planet on the 27th of this month. Now, here's where things start. And I'm going to introduce you all and let you all, have your thoughts. But let me just go ahead on and set the tone. Okay, Thursday, an announcement came out that the President Obama was ordered to Denver International Airport. Now, in International Airport, there is a secret bunker. The president was ordered there. Now, fact one, no one in the media knew. They knew he was coming, but no one knew what he was coming for. Now, they come on and they say, well, he was here for military experiments. They were doing some, I guess they were doing some experiments in counterterrorism or something like that. That's how they categorized it. They categorized it as he was here for, I guess, counterterrorism or something like that. Now, the next thing that happened.
I spoke twice already. There's 5 of us, so they got a big.
Minister, you have something to say, Minister?
I was speaking to somebody else. I tried to cover the phone up. No, I was just saying I got familiar with this case a few days ago.
Okay, cool. So now to go back to where we were. You finished, Minister?
Yes, I'm saying I heard on the news that you have 1 out of 3,200 chances of being affected by this thing, because they said it could break up into 26,000 different pieces, and each piece could go in a different direction. So that kind of leaves the ball field wide open. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay, now here's the problem with that. I have a problem with what he's talking about. See, some of our audience may be thinking we're getting it confused with the idea of the satellite that was coming down, that also could be breaking into pieces, which happened to be the size of a bus, and it was going to supposedly cover like 500-mile area, including some of the land, and it weighed like 6 tons, and only about 10% would actually make it to Earth and supposed to burn up. So I wanted to also have Stacey clear that up with us. Are people getting it confused between this particular moon or celestial body, Elenin, or could we be talking about the satellite that was coming down?
Now, to finish off the point that I was making, Elenin is not a satellite that crashed down. Okay, the satellite that crashed that's a whole nother topic, and I'm pretty sure we'll definitely get into that. What I want to focus on is the threat that was about to happen to America, and it's the Elenin, or the Elenin, or whatever you guys want to call it. Now, here's on Monday, the planets, the planet, the sun, and this comet was supposed to align. With that, when they aligned, what was supposed to happen was the gravitational pull was supposed to cause major earthquakes. Scientists predicted that this major catastrophe, if it wasn't averted, would actually cause a 45-degree shift in the poles. That would be devastating to any coastal city. The president was briefed on this, and he was ordered to Denver International Airport, which actually is the front for the CIA. Okay, all of this is facts. You all can look this up. The next thing that I want to cover is there were a lot, Chris, and I know that you understand that there were a lot of satellites that were beamed up, as they call them, rockets, that were beamed up into the sky. You can see that. You can see the smoke trails. I mean, they were sending those up like wildfires.
Right.
And the next thing that they know, if you listen to the local news media says, oh, well, these are just basically smoke trails from airplanes. No, ladies and gentlemen, they were sending up rockets. This was a major threat. Okay? Now, come yesterday, apparently they dwarfed the threat because they shot it out of space. Apparently this comet was shot down because now the president has made it official that he's going to be here in Denver. Now, what I'd like to know, Chris, I'd like to get your thoughts on that and what's your thoughts on Elenin, and I also like to get the panel's thoughts on that as well. But I'll start with you, Chris. What do you think about this major threat that happened, and do you think that the worst is over? Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, well, to answer the last question, I do not believe that the worst is over. What I think about Elenin is that it's definitely a possible serious threat to our planet, but I still have some very high concerns about the details surrounding Elenin, meaning right now Elenin is supposed to be located somewhere between Mars and Jupiter, which is pretty far out. It's heading in our direction, but it would take about 3 to 5 years for rockets from Earth to reach that far distance where Elenin is supposed to be located at. And the other concern that I have is that the planet itself, it's supposed to be an asteroid or one of the moons to another planet that's actually 30 days behind it, which is called, the scientists are calling it Planet X or Nibiru. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's actually 30 days behind. We're supposed to, feel something or see something sometime in November after we experience the effects of Elenin. But the thing is, Elenin is supposed to be 300 times the mass of Earth. So I'm like, what are we sending out there that is so fast and so quick to reach that distance where Elenin is and knock it off its course with it being 300 times the mass of Earth, which I believe Jupiter, if I'm not mistaken, is 500 or 1,000 times the mass of Earth. I have to do my research on Jupiter, but that just goes to show that Elenin is very huge, a very huge planet that possibly have a very strong magnetic field surrounding it that may reflect some of those rockets. I don't know if they were trying to maybe knock it off course. That could be a possibility. But again, it's the timeline in which our rockets could actually reach Elenin, because it would take some time for it to reach the moon.
Well, let me cut in. Let me cut in and ask you all this right here. And I'd like to get Brother Ital's take on this right here. Brother Ital, before we actually go any further with it, I'd like to get your takes on Elenin. Do you think that it was a viable threat, or do you think this was a cover-up? Or what actually are your thoughts about this moving forward?
Elenin is a reality. For ones that would like to research it, I suggest check the scientist Richard Hogland. That's R-I-C-H-A-R-D, Richard, H-O-G-L-A-N-D. And he has a very, very deep insight into that. But my personal research have shown that Elenin is an intelligently guided entity. It's you could say man-made or like a satellite, and it's a precursor to Nibiru. Chris could enlighten us a little bit on Nibiru, but Elenin is a signal for a future event upon Earth, and it's a very serious thing that's taking place, and the masses of people are not quite aware of it. But now, talk shows like this, other shows are giving out a little more information, yes.
Right now, and that's fine. And I'm glad that on that point you said that it was nobody knew about it at first, and now it's becoming a major threat or a major focal point. But see, now here's my thing. Okay, here's my thing. For one, this is what I do know. This is what I do know about Elenin. First and foremost, I do know that Elenin is a serious threat. Because if you come, because I'm in Denver, Colorado right now. I'm around the Colorado area. We did receive reports that the president was going to be here. Okay, first and foremost, let's get that straight. The second report, we did receive information that they were sending up these rockets. to fight off Elenin. Okay, so I do understand that. So now it is real. But my question, and Chris, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think that Elenin itself is a threat to the people, maybe to the government. If we look at it from a Bible context, let's say the return of the Christ. Let's just look at it from that. Let's just say if that was happening, if that was the scenario that Elenin was coming in to just say the rapture, let's just say it like that, and then there were some people in the government that didn't want that to happen. So I would see it being a threat from a conspiracy point of view.
Well, now,
gentlemen,
go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is me. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're talking to me, Ito? No, I was just saying from a conspiracy point of view, let's just say if the rapture is imminent, let's say if it's happening right now, and the bad forces upon the orb-ship Earth here say, no, we cannot have that because things are going to change. This is just from you could say a far-out conspiracy kind of thing, but that could be why the government is so concerned if that was so. But the people would have to understand what's going on with Nibiru, what Nibiru is, and all that kind of thing.
Well, now hold on now. Okay, so now let's don't bring Nibiru yet. Now let's just go basically. I'm going to have to counteract your point or your theory that Elenin is just a conspiracy thing by the government. No, this is a viable threat.
I'm not saying that it's a conspiracy thing by the government. Let's just say if it's a good force. You know how they say Jesus is coming back for the chosen.
Right.
So let's just say if Elenin is a good force coming in, and let's say the government is a bad force, so they don't want that to happen. So maybe they're trying to stop something good that's happening.
Oh,
so
I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If I may, gentlemen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, y'all are making some excellent points. Chris, John, great points. Y'all are making some very good points. Unfortunately, I believe disaster is imminent. I believe disaster is imminent. And one thing that intrigues me about this whole scenario is it could be a coincidence or it could be linked about the Mayans making a prediction about a ballpark estimate time frame of when the world might end. Is this Elenin issue, is that related? That really concerns me. Is that related? And this is just preceding the ultimate disaster that's that's in store down the road. That's what my opinion is. I believe.
Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I believe what's going on now, what occurred recently, this past week, is just the preliminary phases of it, of what's yet to come, what's in store. And unfortunately, I believe the disaster is imminent. I wish that wasn't the case, but I believe that is unfortunately the reality we're going to face in the future. And it could be into the mind's predictions.
You make a good point. Let's bring in our minister on this right here. Minister, is this Elenin, is this based on biblical prophecies, or is this just basically a natural disaster that's actually happening out there? Let me hear your thoughts from a religious standpoint on it, point of view.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm honored you calling on me. Yeah, I think that there are some other things that got to precede this oncoming threat from Elenin before Elenin can come. And until such time, I mean, you just have to notice the signs as they occur, as they're listed. I don't have the book in front of me now, but I'm sure that there are some things that have not been considered yet in regards to this impending doom we seem to be facing. Well, nevertheless, when it comes, you're going to have to face it one way or the other, but nevertheless, I think before the ultimate disaster does occur, some things have to happen before that happens, and those things have not happened yet.
Now, what things are those that you feel that have to happen? I mean, because now, and before you answer, let me check this out. Okay, so you say things that have to happen. Okay, here's my take, and this is where I'm beginning I separate myself from the religious belief on things, because religion to always have to have a system or a set way of things. Like you just said, Minister, doom can't happen because this hasn't happened. Well, I believe that doom is a natural thing, just like things just happen naturally. For instance, this Ellen, okay, so now let's say this Ellen was just a comet that came out here, okay, space is vast. Who's to say that Ellen wasn't just an ordinary body, planetary body, that had aligned the sun and the earth, and it was going to cause a natural disaster? I mean, just like Brother Ital put on Ellen, this is a good force versus the bad force. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I want to start separating things and maybe start to clear some things out. My belief, here's my belief, okay? I do believe that we were created by an intelligent being. I understand the whole theory on this. But I believe in some way things that happen to you don't just happen by chance, meaning that it just doesn't happen. Okay, things are planned. But this Ellen, I do not believe for 1 minute that this is something that's, I guess, like the minister said, it's not going to happen because this has happened. Chris, can you help me out on this right here and kind of like, kind of break this down to where I'm going? Because I don't want to get too far off track on this show because I want to focus on this Ellen, but I also want to start, to break this down. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, for one, we are seeing the signs today. I'm not sure what Minister Joseph is talking about because, Stacey, we are actually seeing the signs now. There are so many earthquakes around this world that are occurring. There are unexplained storms, okay, that are happening. The signs are there in front of our eyes. The moon is looking, crazy every other month. Is red, is orange, whatever. The Bible talks a little bit about these signs that we are seeing today. We are definitely living in the days of sorrow, or in the last days, or the days in which mankind will definitely change, or the world will not be the same after all of this occurs. Okay, so Elenin is definitely, even if the religious system is looking for a order of things, well, Elenin is in its order of things, because it's not here yet, but it has some gravitational effect on our planet due to the magnetism between planetarium bodies. Okay, so it is definitely real. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. So are you saying that you don't believe that Elenin is here? Or what do you think? Because here is the scientific proof. Something was about to align with our orbit. Okay, let's get down to what Elenin actually was. Elenin was, by astronomers, it was a comet that was supposed to align between the Earth and the Sun. Every time that this comet aligns with the Earth and the Sun, major earthquakes happen. If you look at on the scale, if you go and do a chart of Ellen, every time it aligns with the Earth and the Sun, we always have a major earthquake. Okay, that's fact one. This time, what was stated to happen was it was going to be closer to the Earth. By its proximity with the Earth and aligned with the Sun, it was going to cause a major disaster earthquake on the coastal regions. Now, what the governments did in knowledge of this, a precursor, what they did was they ordered the president here to Denver. Then they also shot up rockets to try to thwart the threat. Okay, so now I go back to what Mr. Ital said. Ital said that, they were fighting this off. They didn't want to save the people. Well, Ital, I'm going to have to disagree with you because they weren't trying to save they wasn't trying to say, this is going to save the people. This was going to destroy the people. Do you understand? This was going to destroy.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but we didn't live in vain here on earth. You see, God is real, whatever you want to call it, God, Allah, the force, you see. So we have been through bondage here for so many years and all this. And if you read the Bible, it says that, the time when Moses was taking the children out of Egypt, we had this natural disaster, and then the so-called aliens came in and intervened. I think the same scenario is happening right now. We have a black president symbolically, and it seems that we're going to have another black president even if he loses. So this black thing is up right now. It's in everybody's face. So if we look at all the faces on the monuments, the Sphinx, and all around the globe, the black faces, the ancient one, the ancient ones are entering Earth's atmosphere, and this establishment is like, don't want that to happen, don't want the people to wake up, don't want the people to be saved. I believe that's the scenario that's taking place right now.
Mr. Eichel, okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. With all due respect, how does this Elenin, okay, what you're trying to do, you're trying to say that we're saved through our destruction? Because
no. What I'm saying is that certain scientists have found that, and researchers have found that Elenin is not a natural object. It's actually a manned. It's an object that's sent on a certain trajectory, intelligently guided. It's actually a ship.
Okay.
So
that changes everything. That changes a lot.
It's actually a ship. So
then I have to say then I would have to say if that's definitely one of the satellites of Planet X, then that possibly would be one of the four winds if it is guided.
Yeah.
By
now,
that's
Jim,
what I'm trying to say.
Okay, now that makes sense. That would pretty much answer.
One at a time, guys.
Because it actually stuck on a. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Chris, that would answer a theory you expressed about why would they attempt to destroy something that is so many times larger than the Earth with our weaponry, which you couldn't destroy something that bigger. So, yeah, according to what he's saying, that makes a lot of sense because they wouldn't even attempt to destroy something the size of Jupiter. And
that's all I was saying. My point is maybe some debris off the tail because from some information that I gathered, the way it orbits around the sun, it cuts through like an egg. And it is now. When I first said that it was out there between Jupiter and Mars, but I think now currently it is out there where Mercury is, which means that it was about to align. Stacey's right on that point. It was about to make an alignment with the Sun, the Earth, maybe some of the other planets such as Venus and Mercury, but it is out there by Mercury from what the information that I gathered. But I mean, I can't put any validity on that. I don't know how much weight that has, but I believe that we must have came around to the vicinity of it where we were close enough to start really being concerned about the effects it was about to give, and it was going to be catastrophic.
Well, gentlemen, let me ask you all. Go ahead.
Anything that comes with. Go ahead.
Well, what happened was, it came between the sun and the solar flares came out, and it was supposed to have disappeared. They say, well, Elenin has been knocked out by the sun, but at that time, a shape appeared, a tetrahedron shape appeared, like a pyramid appeared. That's when they realized that it was another form of intelligence. Now, right about now, it's supposed to be aligned by the 26th. It's supposed to be between where to block the sun out. That's between the earth and the sun, where to block it out. So that period of 3 days of darkness that the Bible talks about should be happening right about now. So if that was the case, it would be like total dark right now because the 26th is just a few more days away. So that imminent doom, I can't see that imminent doom because there are some righteous people, believe it or not. There are righteous people, and I do believe in the Bible. There are some righteous people upon Orship Earth. And we just can't go out like this. We just can't go out like this,
Well, let me bring a point up to you, Mr.
Sir?
No, go ahead. Finish your point, Mr. Eichel. I'm sorry. Finish your point.
Yes, I was just saying we just can't go out like this. So I think that those forces upon the earth that they say like 911 was an inside job, those forces want us to panic. Let's say, well, okay, 9/11, 2011, something's supposed to happen, 10-year anniversary. But like when the 9/11 happened 10 years ago, the Ethiopians that was in the Twin Towers didn't come that day because it was their New Year. So you see, God got some plan for the Ethiopians, for the black people. He's not going to let us go out like this.
Well, let me ask you this question here. Let me ask you this question here, then. Let me ask you this, Miss. Let me ask you this. So you're basically saying you made up a couple of good points that I want you to expound on. You said that there was a pyramid shape that I guess came out of this. You also talk about the 3 days of darkness. The shield, okay. you also talk about the 3 days of darkness that was supposed to happen between the 27th and the 26th, 27th day.
26th, 27th, 28th, yeah.
Okay,
right
so now to talk to you about that, now I was told that wasn't supposed to happen until around October, because what was supposed to cause the 3 days of darkness is the tail of this here so-called comet. That was supposed to get into the middle of the sun.
Okay.
And by astronomers' reports, now if you go by what the astronomers say, and forgive me, guys, and let me just say this on the radio. This is our first show back. We're getting a lot of our kinks out. So I want you guys to bear with us, okay? This is the first show back. I got a late start, so I don't have all of the facts that I want to have.
Right,
because it's like burning at me to bust this out. But it was just, I wasn't really prepared, so I apologize for that to our listeners. But to go back to my theory, I was saying, Brother Aikaro, there is the tailwind of this comet is what's supposed to cover the Earth for 3 days. That isn't supposed to happen until October. If you go ahead.
Well, let's just say if the comet is like, if Elenin is like John the Baptist, the guy that came before Jesus, saying that Jesus is coming. Okay, now just say that Nibiru is behind it. So I think that Elenin is preparing us. Okay, y'all get ready, children of Israel. Something serious is fixing to happen. So he's letting us know. Okay, y'all get ready. This thing is serious. You see, the government is all in an uprising. So it's like a warning. That's what I believe Elenin is. Give the people a chance. But there's a lot of people out there that don't know.
Do you believe that the earthquakes? Do you believe that the earthquakes and do you think some of the natural disasters are also signs and warnings?
Yes, it is. Letting people know that, okay, the end time is right now. The Hopi prophecies and all these things, it's been fulfilled. A lot of them have been fulfilled years ago. So
yes, I agree. I have to agree with you. Matter of fact, Stacy, from what I understand, NASA actually they sent a ship up to remove the remaining astronauts that were out on the space station, and they were not going to go back out there, so it's definitely a threat that is very
wait a minute now.
Hold
on. Let me cut you right quick, and let me get you to expound on that. Did you just say that NASA removed the astronauts that were out in space at this time?
Yeah, they're out there. Remember, they took a shipment out there. I forgot what was involved with the shipment. It was like so many tons of stuff they took out there. But those astronauts was left there. For what I understood, that they have recovered those astronauts, brought them back in before this incident. In other words, they knew this was coming. So this is a whole other can of worms here, because we can discuss, why are the government and some of their affiliates reacting this way? They're not going to be, they have shut down the space programs. They're not going back out there for a while. So to me, that's
down the moon programs and everything. They're just about closing down now.
Exactly. That's a symbol. That's a sign to me that they know something is up. They know a threat is out there.
That is a huge sign.
Astronauts to be out there. And a matter of fact, this could have something. This could have some connection, some ties with why some of the equipment out there is starting to fall down.
And that's a huge sign.
The
people. Yeah, and I just want to elaborate more on what you said. You made an excellent point again. It's the guys, the astronauts, they have the front seat to this stage, to this show. And if the guys with the front seats, the best view, make a move as such, that is a major reason behind such a move. And that is a clear sign to the world something's going on major. If the guys with the best seats in town makes a move, say, I got to get away from this stage, something's going on. The audience should follow and understand that there's something behind. Why would these guys make such a move? Mm-hmm.
Let me get a religious.
I have a question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
With Stacy, can you expound for our listeners what were some of the effects going to be if the government wouldn't have intervened with Enlightening alignment?
Some of the effects that were going to happen, and that's why I'm still a little bit concerned with what Brother Aikaro said, because he was saying that this is, I guess, an awakening, and I'm going to let him explain it one more time because I want to get an understanding. But some of the effects that were going to happen were the planet was going to realign, the polar shift. Okay, a lot of people in the government call it, i.e., global warming. No, this is not global warming. This is global realignment. Okay?
Right.
Every 3,000 years. Okay, you guys want to talk about the Nibiru theory, and I didn't really want to get into that yet because once we get into that yet, we only have a short time, and that's going to expound a lot. Now, we can actually do another show on the whole Nibiru thing. I was just basically dealing with this threat that we had to our country. Now, what was going to happen, Chris, was the planet was supposed, if this was to align with the sun and the earth, this comet, as they call it, and I'm going to call it what they call it right now for our listeners who maybe understand it to be a comet. We all know that it could be a star, it could be a vessel, or whatever, but we're going to call it what they call it now for the sake of argument. If this comet would have aligned on the 27th, as predicted, the proximity it was from the Earth, it would have caused a 45-degree shift in the poles between the South and the North Pole, meaning they would have turned 45 degrees. That would be devastating to the Earth. Some of the effects that would have happened would have been your coastal areas would have dropped 2,000 feet from the shift. There would be no more coast. There would be no more Florida. There would be nothing. It would have been gone instantaneously. Okay? What else would have happened? You would have also had earthquakes, California, all of those, they would have dropped down. The earth would have went through a major change. Now, this is where I found out that it becomes serious. Okay, the government, they took this threat very seriously. And I want all our listeners to understand that. Your government took this threat very seriously. I am in Colorado. I've seen the government come here. Do you not know that Congress shut down? Your Congress shut down. Heads of state in England, the Queen, she's in Colorado. Okay? NASA, you guys were talking about NASA, and I found that very interesting how you guys say that NASA shut down the space program. The heads of NASA, they were all in Colorado. The reason why they were in Colorado because geological, whatever the word I'm looking for. Geological. Yeah, geological. Yeah, right. Geological. This is the safest place to be is Colorado. By our strategic location. This is the best place for you all to be. Exactly.
Highest elevation. Yes.
Exactly. And this is where they have, do you not know your government has set up all of its major governmental organizations are now ran out of Colorado, not Washington, D.C. anymore. So basically they took this threat seriously. Exactly. They took this threat seriously. So, Brother Ital, and I do want you to come back and expound. You said that they did not want this to happen. Okay, I didn't want this to happen. So expound a little bit more on that.
Well, you see, according to what you're saying, it hadn't happened yet, so you know something that there was intervention. Now, as far as the pole shifting, that started in the year 2000 when Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter, five naked eye planets aligned with the Earth for the first time in 6,000 years. Now, Noah was 600 years old when the floods came. So when 2000 came, 5 major planets aligned with the Earth for the first time in 6,000 years. Now, there's a mathematical code on the walls of the Great Pyramid that said when that happened, that the pole would shift and trillions of pounds of ice and water would sweep over orb-ship Earth. So from that time until now, at that time, people say, well, it didn't happen, but 200 miles of ice broke off at the Ross Ice Shelf. The poles did shift at that particular time, and it's been shifting. Say if a man was on the top of the Twin Towers, he jumped off. It's not going to happen instantly. It's going to take some time for him to hit the ground. So that the poles have been shifting now for 11 years. So next year is the culmination. When the Maya say that when our sun is in direct alignment with the Milky Way galaxy, the Maya call it Hunabku, when that happens, that the poles will shift. I mean, like instantly shift. Now, some people say it's going to be a constant shift, but the constant shift is already happening. It's evident because we're talking about it, and we've been talking about it for the last 30 years. I've been preparing for it. So, it is shifting. Yes.
Right, Brother Ital. But now you make a good point, and you bring up that next year, in 2012, supposedly you say that's when it's going to ultimately shift. But I have some news for you guys. Right, it's a confirmation. But I do have some news for you. I don't think that 2012 is the date that you have to look out for. Okay? Now, the poles have been shifting. You are 100% correct. But they have never shifted at a 45-degree angle that drastically. If this Ellen would have aligned on Monday, it would have shifted 45 degrees. Point number one.
So you know by that it's not what they say that it is. There's something that's intervening that's not going to kill the chosen elect. We can't omit the scripture. We can get all new agey and all that all we want to. But the word is the word.
I'm not omitting the scriptures, okay, by no means, okay? And I do have biblical proof to back it up. But what I do want to do is, yes, we did have an intervention, and it says, I'm reading an article for you all, it says, Comet Elenin was hit by an explosion. Two amateur observers are studying NASA images from the Ellen, and it was split into two parts.
Yeah, I know it's right. I'm gonna go on.
Now,
Minister Joseph, did you have something you wanted to say real quick?
Nobody let me know what all happened. I'm scared now.
Minister Joseph, did you have a comment on what Stacy was saying?
Minister.
Okay, I guess not. Go ahead, Stacy.
Oh yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
So anyway,
you're breaking up. You're kind of breaking up. I'm getting bits and pieces.
Okay, so anyway, no, what I was saying was I was telling Brother Isol and the rest of the panel that yes, it did break up. Okay, it was, and we did have an intervention, but NASA sent their rockets up to intervene. Okay, now that's neither here nor there. So there was an intervention. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, brother.
You know what I'm saying? When something goes up, it got to come back down.
Yes, sir.
So anything that they sent up, sooner or later, it's going to come back down.
Yes, sir.
Man, what are you referring to, man? What are you talking about?
Same thing I was talking about, I guess. I mean you're talking about...
But they didn't send Ellen up. I mean, so anyway, Stacey, go ahead. Continue, please.
Okay, can I continue? Can I continue?
Hello?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Brother Ital.
Yes.
Brother Ital.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I want to expand on with more and with the panel, and I'm definitely going to ask you this. You say that in 2012, that's when we're supposed to have the alignment. That's the confirmation.
That's the culmination of the already now polarized shift. That's when the climax of the already now polarized shift that started in the year 2012. Notice it took 12 years for the culmination of the polarized shift, and I didn't bring my research with me today, but I actually went to the base of the Grand Canyons when 2000 came. Everybody was saying, okay, it's fixed to happen. So I went to the base of the Grand Canyons and I talked with the Havasupai Indians there and the Hopi, and we discussed the prophecy. And every indigenous culture agrees that the 2012 day, but you have conspiracy theorists that, oh no, it's going to happen before that, it's going to happen, but nothing's going to happen before time. You can hear that the Lord is coming, but it's not time yet. It's happening. You see all the signs, and he's at the door knocking. But that time is not here for the total destruction because there are righteous people upon the planet that actually keeping it from happening.
Great point. But Stacey, I'm also interested in, you mentioned that 2012 is not the date we should be concerned with anyway, so where would you go with that?
Right, exactly, and I'm glad you brought that up, Chris. If you go and do your research, we're going to have in November the 2nd of 2011. If you were to take those dates, it would actually equal up 12. I think it would equal up to the 2012. If you were to take the dates, I apologize. I don't have my notes in front of me.
What you're referring to?
Wait. That's
you're referring to 11. Is that correct?
Yes.
Exactly. On that date, if you was to take that date, we're supposed to have a major. There's going to be another alignment, which is going to be even closer and more devastating. If you were to take those dates, that would actually equal up to your 2012. Maybe we didn't read the Mayan calendar right. Maybe it is a 2012, but maybe it was supposed to happen in November the 2nd of 2011. Okay.
Well, that's when you're going to get your energy, see. That's when you're going to get your energy. See, in 1994, the portals, since we're talking about the heavenly bodies, the portals of Serous opens at a certain time according to the rotation of the smallest star around the brightly shining star. So, in 1111, that same thing that happened in 1994 is going to happen again. What happened was that energy came down from Serous, and it's due with the 23rd Psalm, regeneration. So that would give us the strength to go into the pole ship or to do the ones that are on Earth. I mean, it's a real complicated matter. Maybe one day we'll get into it, but the portals of Serous is opening again to send some energy down here. Again, some help is coming to help us to get through this transition. You know, the energy that's aligned with the pyramidic energy and the Orion constellation and all that thing that we've studied over the years, and it's too much to cram into
radio show
the time that we have now.
I want to ask each of the panel, and that's a good one. I want to ask each of the panel this question, and Chris, I'm going to start with you. I want to answer this question. A disturbing event happened with this Elenin. Not only was the Elenin a serious threat, but the first thing that the government did after they secured their interests, they went into martial law DEFCON 1. That was acknowledged here. No, that was known here in Colorado. They were doing DEFCON 1 martial art terrorist training on Friday. We went into that. So that martial law is a serious threat. I want to ask each and every one of you all this question here, starting with you, Chris. Chris, what do you think, and what do you actually think will happen if we go all-out martial law? Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead and repeat that question one more time. I heard, what do you think was your question, what do I think if we go all-out martial law?
Right, because I was telling you how the government went into martial law preparation. On Friday, we had DEFCON 1 martial law training. The government was ready for martial law. What do you think will happen if we went all-out martial law right now? What do you think will happen in this country right now if your government unleashed martial law? And do you think that we, this country, or this world, is ready for a major disaster that we're talking about?
We're absolutely, the country itself absolutely is not ready, because the people have been so conditioned and engineered and influenced by media, by the television programs, by the silly, ignorant music that we listen to on a day-to-day basis, that they have not conditioned their own minds to be in tune with the symbols and signs that are right there in front of their faces that they need to be preparing for. So no, the people in this country are not ready for a major disaster. Okay? Number two, if there is martial law, I still say that people are so much deeply in a sleep, the spell of Kingu, that I think that the people would be not even in their right minds to feel how much of a threat it is to be under martial law.
Now, Chris, let me stop you. Let me ask you, why are the people not in their right mind? What do you mean we're not in our right mind to handle that? Why? Expound on that, please.
Well, for one, if we've had this debate before, and I have to go back and agree with the fact that it's the people's fault for how we've carried on. And I don't mean to say we as to include us, the panel on Enlightening the Mind, but this is in reference to those who disagree with the subject matters that we discuss on this show. It is the people's fault that they have not been prepared. I can no longer blame government, because
Jeffrey, you want to get in here? You want to get in here?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. We underestimate the magnitude of what martial law is. If martial law is, or when it is fully implemented, you instantly become property. You instantly become a slave to this nation. You are not allowed to go places when you want. You are not allowed to leave your house. You are not allowed to commute. You are not allowed to shop. You are not allowed many things we do on an everyday basis.
Well, here's the problem, Jeff. Excuse me, Jeff. Here's the problem. People don't realize that they're already slaves and already.
Exactly. Right. And exactly. But it will become much worse. And you made a good point. We have allowed ourselves to be programmed and conditioned to this point by being self-imposed.
And here's another problem I have with what you said. How much worse do it have to become for people to wake up and realize that they are being controlled? They have allowed the government to I just can't say government, but corporatocracy to usurp all their power from the people and just give it up to the government. How much worse do it have to become?
Unfortunately, for people to wake up, it has to be mass amount of people reaching rock bottom, full-blown suppression and control before people will wake up. And people are not ready for martial law because martial law. I'm going to cut you off, but a recent example of martial law, we had a taste of it when Katrina hit in New Orleans. Martial law was to some degree was implemented in the New Orleans area. Police were shooting people on the spot. Police were literally telling people, get back in your doors, do not drive, do not leave your house, do not go here, go there. You would literally become a property, like a mule or a dog to a house or a pet to a house.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, Jeff. Jeff, let me ask you this right here, Dan. Why does it have to take a natural disaster for us to wake up? Here's my thoughts, and I'm going to let you expound on this. My thing is this here. If you go, I'm going to give you an example. Netflix, if you all our listeners know, Netflix is how people, they get their entertainment. Movies come in through the mail or they stream them live on video. So recently what Netflix did was they hiked their prices up. They went up 60% on their prices. The people got mad. The people started to close their Netflix accounts. You know what Netflix did after that? Netflix sent out an email starting off saying, hey, we're going to try to do this, or we're going to try to work with the people this way. Okay, case in point, people complain every day, well, gas is too high. I'm paying too much for gas. I don't have no money. I don't have this. But yet, they still pay the gas prices. But if they stop paying these gas prices, the gas will come down. So people are foolish because they are pissed off about their entertainment. Go ahead. You want to jump in here? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's the problem. We always complain. It goes to the basic fundamentals. We always complain, but we don't want to do anything about it. We may want something done, but we don't take the initiative collectively to do something about it. And when a group wakes up in life, what has more power than anything else? What entity ultimately prevails over anything else in life? Unity, unification. When people unify, they are the most powerful entity on the face of this earth. You control everything in life if you unify. And we don't unify.
Allow me to make a comment on that, Jeff. And I totally agree with you. But here's the thing. The corporatocracy have been dictating to us how we live our lives anyway. We are already mildly under a type of martial law when your government, your leaders can actually put a price tag on just going fishing. And it's not their fish. They didn't create the fish, but yet you cannot be seen or caught fishing with a fishing pole off of your dock without their fishing license. That says a lot right there, that you are a prisoner already on your own property.
Absolutely. The problem is this. They are not allowing us to suffer enough to wake up. We are at a tease level. We're not being pushed too far to the left. We're not being pushed too far to the right. We're going down the middle. But what will wake people up is when they suffer full-blown suppression. That is what will wake a person up. Throughout life, there always have to be a disaster to occur before we start calling each other, oh, I love you, brother, I love you, my sister, let's unite, races unite, families unite, different countries unite. It always takes disaster for us to wake up and come together. During peace times, then we start hating each other again and separating. That's just the way of the world. It's a sad, sick scenario, reality, but that's just how it is.
Brother Ital, he makes a great point, but I want to bring you in on this here. I want to ask you this question here. Listening to what the panel has to say, what do you think about it? Do you think that is the people's fault that we're in the situation we are in? Do you feel that we as a people want to get ourselves out? Or if we were to rely on the people, we would be doomed? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Well, let's let's just say that if tomorrow that 3 days of darkness come, like your brother was saying, it's going to take something drastic like that. If 3 days of darkness come, then everybody knows that there's something going on. Then that's what it's going to take. It's going to take something drastic. People are dead. People are mentally dead. That's the fact, man. Because there's things going on right now that they just don't see, and it's right in their face, obvious. But if it gets dark for 3 days, maybe that need to happen. You know.
Yeah. I mean, and you make a valuable point. Is right in their faces. For example, Hollywood is putting it in your faces because they are coming out with a movie called Melancholia, which. Melancholia 2011, and it is they're talking about Elenin. They actually mentioned that comment that's out there in a movie that's coming out.
Well, Melancholia.
Let me ask you guys this here. I'm going to go with you, Jeff, because I know you're trying to get in here. Why don't the people believe? Why don't the people want to wake up? You guys are saying, all you guys from the panel are saying, the people don't want to wake up, or they can't wake up. It is common sense. It is basically 1 + 1 = 2. You're saying that we have to go through a major disaster. Ladies, gentlemen, we are in a major
right.
Unemployment is at an all-time high. People aren't
slavery, man. Slavery.
Look at
mental
these children.
Slavery. People, food, the water, the educational system, the church. The Christian church, but that's where millions and millions of people are there, but they don't know what the deal is. They don't even know what the
Well, let me
similes. Go ahead.
Right. Let me bring the minister in right quick and ask this because you guys mentioned your church. Minister, do you think that the church has failed the people, or is the church just a big failure or a scheme designed to control the people? I'd like to hear a religious minister's point of view on that. Go ahead, Minister.
Well, there has been a great falling away of people from their churches, religions, and this is why we see so much immorality being practiced in the world today, more specifically the United States. I mean, in numbers that would just blow old numbers away. Of course, you have to consider the increase of our population since then, but mathematically it's run amok. And it's not going to get better. The book says it's going to get worse. And it's going to get worse and worse. It's not going to ever get better again. I hate to be a prophet of doom, but pretty much that's how it looks to me. The way things are going down, it seems to be going down and not coming back up.
Right. I can't say the church failed the people because I feel the church and the state are brothers. So they are interested in each other.
I think the people feel the church. Yeah. The church can feel the people are feeling the church.
It's people. Now, if I say it to the viewers, they'll be like, what in the...
Where in the world does God come in and all that? I hear the people in the church and the state. What about the one, the great one that created the universe?
Well, hold on now. Let me say this. Jeffrey, I'm gonna let me just say this, and I'm gonna be brief.
Yeah,
I don't believe that the one has anything to do with what's going on here, and then I'm gonna tell you guys why.
No, I'm saying that the people failed the great one. Forget about them failing the church. The church is just a place of congregation.
Right.
Jeff, I'm gonna let you have a word. You want to get in right quick? We have less than 2 minutes to go, so be brief. What do you want to say to what Chris said in closing?
Okay, I want to say what people understand. Unfortunately, it sounds bizarre, crazy, off the wall, but the church in this country is another entity of the federal government, church and state. So it's not the people. It's not the people failing the church or the church failing the people. It is the government failing everybody. It is us failing ourselves by not waking up, unifying, and learning things beyond what brought our attention. By being influenced and deceived through the media, through the paper, through the radio.
On that note, guys, I'm going to have to definitely close you. It took us a while to actually start getting into it, but we started to come back. We started to be enlightening the mind. We're definitely going to pick this up next week, and I promise you all, we're definitely going to talk about this. So I'm going to come back with next week's message is going to be Is it really the church that failed the people? Did the people fail the church? Or the government? One, in an organization designed to destroy us all. Thank you for listening to Enlightening the Mind. For our channel, I appreciate you all listening. I thank you all for tuning in. We will definitely be back with you all next week. Thank you all for listening to Enlightening the Mind. For my show, Enlightening the Mind, I'm your host, Stacey Harris. Thank you all, and good night. We'll see you all next week.
Yes, sir. We are back.